It is a beautiful sunny day in the Lone Star State of Texas. The date is May 26, 2018. Texas State Railroad is preparing for its first steam trip of the season. Once again, the sounds and smells of steam locomotives will be dispersed all throughout the piney woods of East Texas. Steam locomotive number 28 has been fired up and is currently in the last stages of preparations for the trip to Ruskenbach. To celebrate the beginning of steam season, Texas State displayed a few locomotives outside of their shops in Palestine. Number 125, the FP9 diesel locomotive that we chased the month prior. And of course, a rail fan favorite, Texas and Pacific 610, a massive 210-4 built by Lima Locomotive Works in June of 1927. The locomotive retired in the 1950s, but in '76 the powerful locomotive was restored to full operational condition. Signs of the locomotive's history are everywhere you look on the 610, including the days where it ran for Southern, and one of our favorites, the small patches of faded paint which showed off the red, white, and blue stripes that the 210-4 sported as it pulled the American Freedom Train all over Texas in 1976.
Does that make you excited?
Yes.
About an hour before departure, number 28 made its way down the Y to connect to its train for the day. Number 28 is a 280 consolidation type steam locomotive that was built by Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1917. 28 is one of two survivors of the 1500 U.S. Army General Pershing locomotives ever built. Although the locomotive was never sent to Europe during the war, it served the U.S. Army base 10 miles east of Leesville, Louisiana, known as Fort Polk. In 1941, the 280 was renumbered to number 20 at Camp Claiborne, Louisiana. A Louisiana short line called the Tremont and Gulf purchased the steamer after World War II and was renumbered once again to 28. After working for the T&G, the Southern Pine Lumber Company in East Texas would then acquire the 28. In the 1970s, number 28 was donated to the Texas State Railroad. The locomotive was eventually restored back into mint condition in the 1990s. TSR gave 28 a shiny red coat of paint and renumbered her to 300. Eventually, TSR decided to repaint her again, but this time they painted her back into her black paint scheme that the engine wore while working for Southern Pine Lumber Company. The original number 28 was restored as well. It's 10 a.m. and 28 is ready to depart Palestine and begin the 25-mile journey through the piney woods to Rusk, Texas. The Texas State Railroad was built in the 1880s by the inmates of a penitentiary in Rusk. It was the iron foundry that the prison set up that sparked the need for a short line railway to haul the materials needed to run the foundry. The line would soon make it to Palestine and would connect with the International Great Northern. The interchange still exists today, but now the TSR connects with the Union Pacific. Although pulling some passengers, the Texas State pulled a variety of cargo, including the iron ore for the foundry, wood, agriculture, and livestock. The line eventually became a tourist railroad in the 1970s, and still to this day, people can go back in time and travel by rail through the beautiful piney woods. Here we see our train slowly moving through Maydale. Maydale is where Texas State occasionally shows off their turntable that was built by the Frisco in the late 1890s. It began serving in Paris, Texas in 1902, and in 1981, TSR acquired the turntable and installed it here in Maydale. With the train arriving at Rusk, passengers were allowed to disembark and have a layover while the locomotive traversed the Y to receive a water refill at the shops. While waiting for the 28 to connect back to the train and begin the return trip to Palestine, we met a gentleman by the name of Ben Campbell who just happened to be with Texas State. He gave us a wonderful opportunity to tour the shops in Palestine. Inside the shops were several items of interest, including a vintage Superior Oil tank car and Texas State number 22, a 70-tonner locomotive built by GE in May of 1956.
This 22, this is just the hull of the 22, but this 22 was the last and only engine that we have that actually pulled a train on the actual Texas State Railroad before it became Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Out of all the interesting equipment, my personal favorite piece of history inside the shop was the Texas and Pacific Business Car number 4. Mr. Campbell gave us an excellent history lesson on the car.
We have the Texas and Pacific car number 4, which is a business car. The car was used by the president of the Texas and Pacific Railroad. The car remaining here is the only and last Texas and Pacific business car in existence. The car is a wooden car. It was built in 1899. It was refinished in 1957, and it's a little worn now, but it's still a very historic car. Appreciate your interest in it, and best wishes.
The passengers are back aboard, and just like that, the whistle goes off, marking the beginning of the return trip to Palestine. It's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and 28 slowly pulls its train into the depot. After the passengers left the train, 28 disconnected from the passenger cars and made its way toward the Palestine shops. Southern Pine Lumber Company number 28 had one more task to accomplish for the day: push the 125 and the Texas Pacific 610 back into the Palestine shops. With 125 inside, the easy part was over. Now, the real challenge would begin. The 28 is connected and slowly moves the 610 back into the shop. '28 has hardly any problems pushing the giant 210 Ford back inside. This will bring a close to our steam adventure in East Texas. It was an absolute pleasure to return to Texas State Railroad to see the first steam locomotive that pulled me in a train when I was a small child. I want to give a special thanks to the people that work hard to maintain the locomotives and equipment at Texas State. These people have given the opportunity to step back in history and experience the sounds and smells of railroading before the modern times. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Until next time, thanks for watching.